As a special election approaches for State Senate District 19, WIS TV wants to help voters get to know the candidates and drill down on some of the most relevant issues. We've invited all of the candidates in the Democratic primary to join us for a one-on-one interview. Joining us today is candidate Javar Juarez, and we're going to go ahead and jump into things. Thank you so much for being here today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me today.
Javar, what makes you the most qualified candidate for this seat?
I'm doing the work. I'm not planning to do the work. I'm doing the work. We're out in the community. We're shuffling things around. We're messing with crime, really bringing down the strongholds of poverty, and are working together as a community collaboration to get the work done. And I've been at the lead of that for the last 4.5 years, 5 years, and we're really starting to see a lot of progress. So I'm ready to bump those efforts up even more, but we have everything in place to help us get there.
Well, according to the latest numbers, it's estimated that 11.8% of Richland County families live in poverty. What are specific ways you would address that?
So the first way that we've been addressing poverty and breaking down the systems of poverty is ensuring that more people are connected to the information that they need to thrive. Right at this particular moment, and especially in District 19, there is a huge information gap where people are just not aware even right now that there is a special election going on. So interviews like this are really important to help get the word out even more because our communities are just not in the loop. So I've created systems that allow us to disseminate information more quickly and relevant to, in particularly, different zip codes. And even my campaign website, I didn't just do a traditional campaign website. I wanted people in the district to be connected to the information associated by zip code, and we made that information public. So the first thing that we have to do is organize, plan, and then execute.
Well, let's talk about leadership now. Give us an example of how you have brought people together to address an issue or community problem.
That's every day. There are a lot of people that believe that somehow this is part-time work. That's not the case with this. This is a full-time, everyday job that I have had to create enough capacity to respond to the sheer number of requests that we get for information. My leadership is embedded into the community daily as I try to connect people that are in some very difficult circumstances to the information that they need to thrive. Whether that's programs with the AARP and my digital ready skills, ready at 50+ skills, or whether that be holding town hall meetings every quarter. Those are the things that we're doing, not waiting, but actually mobilizing by organizing, planning, and executing those programs.
If elected, what would be your top priority and at least one measurable goal?
My top priority at this particular time is poverty, because poverty is the #1 driver in crime that we see. And a lot of people think it's just gun violence in Richland County, but it's a lot of property loss too. And so I've been working with private sector systems, investors, people that are in the private sector to help me really tackle that through small business job creation, helping to create more spaces that are safer for younger people, but also those younger people who are ready for their first job. We're trying to create more space for them to have their first job, because most of our communities are lacking in those job opportunities outside of, McDonald's or KFC. But we're creating jobs to help us put adults, parents back to work, people that are looking for a second chance, felony reentry. We're working with all of those people that are in a larger marginalized status, if you will, to really get back to work. And I believe that's going to be our first and largest priority in reducing overall crime.
Well, Senator John Scott, who formerly held this seat, he was a big believer in public education. According to the state report cards just released, a number of schools in Richland County scored below average. What ideas do you support to help turn those scores around?
When, before John Scott passed, we were in a series of community meetings, and we heard from a lot of the leaders. We heard from the school board educators. You can go to the CUBN website, YouTube channel, and the Killing 911 Killing of Youth is there. We heard from the school district, and the school district itself called for the community to get involved. The community has to get involved at every single layer of government. And first, people need to know that the school district is a tax levying government agency. It's school board, but it's government. You've got to work government. You have to be involved. We need the parents to get involved. We need the community to get involved in leadership to help us bridge that learning gap that occurred during the pandemic. It's up to us to help get those children out of that place and into more prosperous environments, into places where they can create, feel safe, and get away from their everyday, sort of environment.
Well, if elected as the next senator of District 19, what can voters expect of you and from you?
Voters can expect that I'm going to be consistent. No matter what happens in this election, my primordial disposition is always going to be the community and ensuring that first I'm safe, to make sure that I can continue to live in Richland County and feel safe here myself. That requires that I work, really hard to connect people, to get us back on a communal page. Voters should know that I'm always going to be here for you until the Lord says the same, right? Till he says otherwise. I'm here doing that work because people matter. Our human condition is fragile, and I care about the people of South Carolina. So I'm going to continue to work really hard for those people full time.
Well, thank you, Javar Juarez, for joining us. You can watch all of our other candidate interviews on the elections page at WISTV.com. As a reminder, early voting for the special election primary runs through October 20th, and the primary date is October 24th. Now, once all of the primary candidates have been identified, we will invite all of the candidates back before the special election, which will be held January 2nd of 2024.